Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 3rd June 2021, and goodness gracious, I've just seen that my subscriber count has topped 600 people, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, unlike many of these people online, these subscriber numbers aren't just numbers to me. I know that you're people, you're individuals and human beings who have made a conscious decision to hit that subscribe button and join me in calling out all this nonsense and hopefully listening to whatever information I can impart to help us all along through this thing that we face. So I don't take that for granted whatsoever. And I actually made a intro video or a welcome video a few videos back for new subscribers. It's entitled "What's the Point of Me?" and "Welcome." So I think it's probably about 5 or 6 videos back now. So have a look at that if you want, and it will tell you a bit more about me and this channel. So I looked at Wednesday's episode of UK Column News, and I'll be putting the audio onto my website. As I say, I haven't worked out how to do the video side of things yet, but I'll put the audio on. And what's happening here? Road sweeper things here at the moment, so that's what that noise is. So yeah, I'll put the audio onto my site for the latest UK Column News episode, and always worth watching. But the most salient points are, some of these mainstream narrative people are getting quite nasty now. I don't know if you saw that thing with Dermot O'Leary. He had a mainstream journalist on whatever program he's on, and they were talking, and she is at least partially sort of anti-V, and he just had a right old go at her. Not prepared just to sit there and listen to her side of the argument rationally, but he just got very emotional, and it is pathetic, to be honest with you. And speaking of which, apparently there was a documentary on Channel 4 on Tuesday night, which again, I didn't watch it myself, but it was all against people not in favour of the big V. By the way, I've got to shorten these down, not say the full thing for fear of, kind of censorship, basically. So when you hear me just saying things like the big V or Iva for that drug that starts with I, that's why I've got to be a bit cagey and be a bit sort of, box a little bit clever. So this documentary, again, apparently it is typical mainstream media propaganda, but not especially well done, according to UK Column News anyway. And another thing they had on the UK Column Wednesday edition was apparently this lady called Claire. This is not a nice story, but she emailed into UK Column about an experience she had at a garden centre. And you know how these garden centres all have cafeterias where you can sit down, have a cup of coffee and a sandwich. Well, a pleasant thing to do normally. Well, she sat down, and just at the next table there was a couple of ladies talking quite loudly, and they were saying how people who haven't had the V should all be put into prison camps. And she got very upset by this, understandably, and sort of moved tables and must have been in quite a state, because a member of staff came up to see what was wrong. And when she explained, the member of staff then turned around and said, well, she's in favour of 100% sort of big V rollout as well, which upset this Claire even more. So yeah, it looks like things are in certain quarters getting quite nasty. Although, having said that, I think the majority of the British population is a lot more reasonable than that. Yeah, you've got these, well, extremists, I'd call them, but I think the vast majority of people are more reasonable and accommodating and tolerant. So that's the hope I have anyhow. My last video I did yesterday was about my must-see video kind of segment on my website, and I've had a lot of recommendations from you guys to put on there. Obviously I've got to go through these videos that you recommend and before I put them on, but I will be working through those and putting them on very, very shortly. Yeah, I've got quite a lot of work to do actually. I've got sort of some other things I'm reviewing that I've got to put on there as well, but it'll all be done before very long at all. But a video that is on there is the Dark Horse podcast entitled COVID, Ivor and the Crime of the Century interview between this Brett Weinstein and Dr. Pierre Kory. Very, very worthwhile watching all the way through, even though it's about 2.5 hours long, because it'll really get you up to speed on the whole ivermectin thing. If you don't know anything about it or much about it, it will just crystallize in your mind pretty much everything you need to know. But the most salient takeaway point for me was at about 1 hour 39 minutes and 45 seconds in, where Dr. Kory explains that basically he's not an anti-V person. In fact, he's very pro-V, but in this instance he's not comfortable and he's got other alternatives in the form of Ivor. And his exact words were, he's not anti-V, he's just more comfortable with Ivor, and it's, as far as he's concerned, a reasonable clinical judgment, which it is. And he's a very, very eminent doctor fighting on the COVID front lines in the hospitals, so he's seen it firsthand. And for him to come out with a statement like that is, well, it is proof that the big V isn't the only sort of answer to this thing. So if you come across someone, maybe in your friends or family circle, who are a little bit like those two ladies, or Dermot, what's his name, O'Leary, maybe just get your phone and just record that little segment of Dr. Kory. It's only about 20 seconds long, starting at 1 hour, pretty much 40 minutes in, somewhere around there. Just get it on your phone, and if you get people like that, just start the video going and just say, look, this is a proper COVID doctor and this is what he says about it, and then just play the video. That's what I'm going to do, and it might be helpful. Just a thought. So no doubt be back later with some more thoughts today, I'd have thought, but leave it there for now. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching. So this is just putting my money where my mouth is, taking my own advice. So this is a little segment of video that I recommended getting onto your phone, just in case you need a bit of hardcore evidence for people accusing you of being anti-V. So let's just play that.
But I just want to cover this for you as well. You're not an anti-vaccine person.
No, not at all. No, I'm fully vaccinated. So are my kids. I mean, not this vaccine, because I have an alternative that I'm much more comfortable with. That's personally, and I use ivermectin. And so, again, I want to see more data on these vaccines, and I don't know. I just feel it's a reasonable clinical judgment. That's
right. All. Well, I mean, let's go back to the.
So there you go. That's it. So just a bit of ammunition on my phone now, just in case I come across any of these horrible people who want to give us a hard time.